folks. It's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Woo!
A podcast.
Because we're awesome.
We are.
Welcome everybody to the MC Variety Hour.
Woo woo! It's been so long.
It has. We're actually in the same room together, everybody.
This is like the first
eye to eye.
I know.
She's having a staring contest with me. You blink first. Do it.
I'm really excited.
We have coffee, cigarettes, somewhat comfortable chairs, and a room full of cats staring at us. Don't tell everybody how many there are, okay? I am a cat lady.
By the way, folks, we also have our stickers in cards with stamps on them.
I had stamps. I'm a grown-up, and I bought stamps recently. And when she brought all the stuff over, I was like, I got stamps.
I hope you guys enjoy all the cards that they come into. We're going to leave that for a surprise.
Yeah, we're sending you some junk in the mail. Not our junk.
I mean,
we should just send our junk mail.
It depends on how much money they're willing to give us on our Ko-Fi or our Patreon account.
I know. I do appreciate all that coffee that people have bought us. That was really kind.
Chicken Duck and No Phony Podcast Network.
No Phony Podcast Network.
We all know that was you, Jay. It's okay.
It's cool. We'll
cool.
just pretend like
it was the whole group.
Yeah, we had like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
I've had coffee for like a week. Just a week. That's all I do is drink coffee. It's like 8:30 at night, and I'm like, let's have some coffee.
So we were on a
Hiatus?
hiatus. I was traveling and fuck my life.
I could.
And no, Crawford did a great job.
I did okay. I cannot talk by myself for more than like 5 minutes. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to invite people on. I didn't get my friend Tracy on though, and I really wanted to get her on because she has an interesting life. She's like in her mid-30s, divorced. She's got 2 grown kids, a little kid, but she's been dating, and she's just weird in general, and I love her to death, and I thought she'd be hilarious. But we just can't get our schedules matched up. The pineapple lamp is for her, actually. She collects pineapples, and I found a wooden pineapple lamp that I'm going to give her.
That's the way to do it.
I love ugly lamps, and she loves pineapples, so it's like...
A 2-for-1 deal.
I don't like that.
And I was finally able to give Crawford some of the swag that we have.
Dude,
And
I got Saturdays with Chicken Duck pen.
And a sticker.
And a sticker.
Basket case. My kids might have stolen your sticker for her, and so we're going to have to give you some money and send us some more.
Send me a dick pic instead. A flattering one, please, not a flaccid one.
We would like to have all kinds of stickers sent to us.
I would love. I was just showing Miles my original sticker.
The cat. It's
Get
a cat.
Don't pet him. No. He's the kind that like once he meets your eye, that's it.
Oh, got it.
I actually avoid looking at him because he knows. Like, oh, did you need a kitty cat to pet? Because I'm right here. I'm right here. Yeah. Anyways. So I'm super excited about my pen, but now I have a new sticker board, as you can see, and I started it over. I have some Persist stickers on there, but now I have some cool podcast stickers. And
we're getting there. And I'm going to make my table over this winter, and I'm really pumped about it.
Yeah, we were just talking about the podcast studio that we're eventually going to build or make or have or do.
One of these days. Look, someday. It's only been a year. Like, give us a break. You know, most people have faded out. We have not faded out.
Yeah, we've grown stronger. Our listens are up. I'm excited about that.
I am too.
As well as like how long they listen. I find that. So I really love my sticker board, and I appreciate you bringing the stickers and the people giving us the stickers. Did we pay for the stickers? Lily?
Yes. I paid towards Saturday the Chicken Duck because he's awesome, and the pins were, I mean, that's not cheap money, so we like to spread love when we get paid, but our paychecks are always scarce and meant for bills.
So tiny. Those tax breaks are really working out.
I mean, I'm making so much money.
I mean, do you want to just dive into slaughtering politics?
We can totally dive into that. Before we dive into that, I want to...
Go ahead.
Yeah, so...
Let me interrupt you for more times.
So we're going to just do a quick thing. So this upcoming season, we're doing this thing called interviews with people. But tonight, it took us like an hour and a half just to remember how to set the board back up with the two of us. So
we haven't been together in so long. We've been remote recording. This sounds so great, though.
It does. It sounds so much better. And so we're getting there. And so now we're going to figure out how to loop people in to that conversation and get some interviews going with all of our lovely podcasters. So I'm kind of glad that we didn't decide to interview tonight because we would have fucked that one in the pooch.
Would have been like, sorry, it's gonna be another hour.
And most of all, there's a lot of you podcasters, obviously, I want to give shout-outs to, but first and foremost, all of you guys know, Jen motherfucking Fackler. Like, you are the fucking bee's knees.
Oh, dude.
That cape.
That cape was amazing. We posted it on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. I retweeted everything that Chad.
Yeah,
amazing people. You guys are fucking phenomenal.
Brave as motherfuck. Holy fuck.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Jen raised like $1,811. And she rappelled off of a massively huge building. I think it was the Edison building in Toledo, Ohio. And she wore a cape. And in the middle of the cape, it had all the thank yous to the personal people. And then for all the podcasts that helped donate, all of our little logos were on the cape. And it was so fucking cute,
And
dude.
it was our new logo, so it was so adorable.
So freaking adorable. And anyways, you know, Facklers, you guys are just...
Facklers, I love you.
We're going to buy you a beer soon.
Yes.
Yes,
You know what?
right before the holidays, we need to take them out.
Toledo has some really great breweries.
Yeah, well, they don't live that far from...
Breweries.
Like, they're actually, like, dead set between the two of us.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not going to say where, but they're very close to us.
We'll keep their privacy to themselves.
But we're going to take them out. I told them that we're going to buy them a dinner and drinks, and all the four of us can go out, and it'll be nice.
And then we can podcast about it later. It'll be 2 podcasts about the same experience.
Yeah, that or we can bring all the rest of the
Totally different
Ohioans in, like Drinks with Larry, and be like, guys, why don't we make it like a big, like, 15 people, like, get together?
Can't even figure out who's who.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got a different mic. Why is mine louder than yours? I don't know.
No, I mean, like, let's
But,
just all get together, like, not even podcast, but just, like, have a really great dinner. Like, all of us just meet up
You
and
know what?
talk.
There's a... I mentioned it. I listened to History Dweebs, and they have it's called DweebCon. They actually have a convention that they go. They have so many listeners, and it's an Ohio-based podcast. And I think it's in Cincinnati, or Dayton or something. But they like all meet up, and they have like the podcast people and their groupies.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you know it would be fun to do like just
Somebody, like, we'll meet in the middle of Ohio, which I was talking about earlier. I think it's so great. Like, in the springtime, we find somewhere cool to meet in Ohio, and
a really cool park.
Yeah, or something, and then just everyone just have a damn good time.
So I can smoke my medical marijuana in peace in the woods.
Yeah.
I got approved for that medical marijuana.
Good for you. Hell yeah.
I'm very excited about it. It cost me a pretty penny, and now they said that they would have the dispensary. They're supposed to have the dispensary. Everything's supposed to be up and running by like 2 days ago. Now they're saying that they're not going to have anything. I was told by the doctor probably next month, but I just watched something on the news that said it won't even be ready until like January.
That sounds like
I
Ohio.
have to get recertified every year, so I'm going to go like 6 months my recertification with my certification and not have any access to it.
That's so great.
Yeah, thanks,
Ohio, you're so on it.
They haven't even gotten the patient registry going. So just so you know, everybody, I usually talk about my weed smoking, but I am legally okay, so I'm allowed to talk about it now.
Yeah, look at that.
I'm very excited.
You should be.
You should see my prescription. I'll show it to you later. I've never been prescribed weed before. Marijuanas, I'm sorry. But, like, she checked off, like, the THC for, like, during the day and the CBD for sleeping, and it's an actual prescription. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's how I do it. All right.
I mean, look,
That's cool with me.
I got Crawford's going to be extremely happy. 1 second, folks. I got to show her a picture.
Oh,
So,
Andy, he's got a moose knuckle too. I'm banging it. Show him when you get home. I'm doing this. And now it's close. Now it's far away. That's close. Now it's far away.
sorry, folks. My husband sent a picture of himself in basketball shorts.
He was fast in Miles, and I was like, "Why don't you shut up and go put some basketball shorts on, and then send us a picture?" And so, what did he do? Like a good husband?
He sent a picture of himself, and yeah, he knows how to listen to a woman.
Yeah,
Sometimes, but not to do laundry. Never does laundry. But
I won't give up the fucking garage.
that garage will be mine by the springtime.
By
It's
God,
fine.
By God, if I have to detach that motherfucker.
Yeah, I will make it mine. If not, I'm going to turn that shed of his in that he's building for the shit that's supposed to be in the garage into that shed. I will just take over that shed.
I like those little ones that look like a cottage.
I know.
You know, they got like little porch.
Yeah, but you know how much
railing.
those bitches are to buy?
You know how much they are to steal?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll rent a trailer. We will lift that bitch up and trail. Like,
We're going to make it happen.
you can get a wide load sign on your car. We'll hurry up and paint it. Like, ain't seen it. Don't know what you're talking about, bro. You want to see my new podcast studio, though? See, this one just tricked me. I told you.
Yeah.
This cat, like, if you make eye contact with him, he's like, "Did you need a pet?"
Did you
There
want me
he
to pet
is.
you?
Yeah.
All right, so Crawford,
Oh, yeah.
we've got a judge
You know what? I was headed on CNN for the glorious 10 minutes I'm allowed to have it on work before people get there and are like, can you put this on Fox News, please?
Oh.
And I saw that they were saying that he's kind of pretty much sailed through the Senate approval.
I don't understand how.
And from what I saw and what, the clips and whatnot, he wouldn't answer. He was like, I'm not going to answer a hypothetical question. Well, I would like for you to answer a hypothetical question so I know how you feel should that hypothetical situation arise. I don't think that there's anything wrong with a judge answering hypotheticals.
Because, hypothetically speaking...
what kind of a judge are you, hypothetically?
Exactly.
You prick.
And what kind... And I don't understand what we're doing, except for the fact that we have to get off of our asses at some point.
We're gonna lose our reproductive rights.
I mean, we're just gonna lose our entire nation. I mean, let's just be real.
Push him through, and it's gonna suck. The whole generation is gonna suffer because of this.
Not even like it. No, it's gonna be like 5 generations unless he gets capped off. Wait, X that out. Wait, I mean the FBI is gonna be like, what the shit? I was already banned once on Twitter, so.
Well, white trash.
Don't guys, don't offend Tommy LaHaron.
I mentioned that to Sean when he guest starred. I was like, Miles actually got a warning because she called Tommy LaHaron. I can't even say her name. It's so stupid. I can't say anything.
Tammy LaHaron. That's what I call her.
You know what? We can call her McCunty Face.
McCunty, yeah. Tammy McCunty Face. Anyways, don't call her white trash on Twitter.
Because she gets upset and her butt hurt, and her followers do, and they're like...
Then suddenly you get banned.
And a warning.
24 hours.
You get a 24-hour ban?
Yeah, 24-hour ban. I have 3 different accounts. I have my work account, my private account. Well, not my private. It's like, whatever. My personal account, and then the MC Variety. All of them.
Oh, my God.
Could send pictures, gifts. Could only, I couldn't even, send a screenshot. I couldn't talk about it. Nothing.
They were like, now we're going to shut you down.
I mean, go ahead and keep on those fucking sweet, podcaster fucking scammers, but don't let me talk about how the white trash fucking blonde bitch is a white trash blonde bitch.
I can't stand her ass. To even listen to her talk, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
But we got a judge on our hands.
We have it's a very scary situation. I'm not hopeful that he will...
I don't understand. What's it going to take for us to actually impeach Trump?
Did you read the New York Times op-ed?
Oh, yeah, and now he wants the Attorney General to look into it.
Yeah, he's like, that's treasonous, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't think it is. I really want to read Bob Woodward's book because there's been a lot of mention about that op-ed and something about Bob Woodward's book. Do you know who Bob Woodward is?
Yeah.
All the President's Men?
Yeah, and he was really big on the Watergate.
Yeah, that's him and Carl Bernstein. They made a movie about it with All the President's Men. And kitty cat, told you. I was like, please wear something fur friendly that you don't mind. And she did. She kind of wore things that fur can't stick to. Oh, Jasmine, stop it.
Stay on track. Stay on track.
She will get you with those eyes, dude.
She does.
Okay. What was I saying? Op-ed. And people keep talking about Bob Woodward's book. He covered the Nixon scandal. Him and Carl Bernstein broke that story. And he wrote a book, and it either has come out or it's about to come out, and they kept mentioning it in relation to that op-ed, and I'm like, or op-ed, I don't know, anyways. So I'm interested, and I probably will buy his book and read it, just because it's basically Watergate happening in a different way, but the same.
Watergate's been happening since before Trump was even president, and that's the most frightening part is how complacent we've become, and I understand that, at some point it gets so tiring because, trust me, I was super exhausted for the last, almost 2 years now of trying to keep up on the news. And it is. It's very hard to keep...
It's overwhelming.
It's very overwhelming. It's disheartening when you realize how far gone our nation is. And it's a problem for me because I believe so much in the...
what your country was founded on, but not what it is.
Exactly, and that's really it's very, very difficult because it's like having the Kaepernick talk with people.
Oh my God!
And
right?
Because I have veteran friends who believe that Kaepernick did nothing wrong, and then I have veteran friends who find what he has done offensive. So I'm not. If anybody read my Facebook, like a 3 nights ago, drunken rampage.
Oh, I was like, that's a end of the hour podcast rant by Miles. That's what that is.
It was a pretty good rant.
Somebody needed to get on a speaker.
I mean,
or a mic. I mean,
I was really mad.
She got a load to blow.
But because it's not about. Okay, so he's not allowed to protest. Whatever. He can't kneel at a fucking football game. Okay. He can't, and not only that, but he's not allowed to be a face of Nike. Okay. So what is he allowed to do? Like, you want to talk about how it's okay that Louis C.K.'s back out there on comedy because he needs to earn a paycheck.
Right.
But you're going to be mad that Nike is giving Colin Kaepernick a paycheck. And at the end of the day, yeah, you're right, guys. Like, Colin never served. You're right. But he has gone, in my opinion, and I get it, I'm probably wrong, but he's done something. He's stirred the pot, and that pot remains stirring. And that's what I appreciate about Colin is that
he won't give up.
He's not.
Like, I don't care if I,
if I ruin your day, if I piss everybody else off, because I'm to do something, and he continually stands by what he has done.
It's like, I'm not going to give up. It's kind of like somebody who just keeps getting beat and they just keep standing back up. Like, I don't care. Keep hitting me.
That's what I'm saying. And like, so respect that. And not only that, but if y'all actually watch the Nike ad instead of burning shit because y'all are stupid, you would have realized that Colin was actually just a very small facade, and that, okay, so he's the face of it,
right.
But that ad that they ran there's so many different people on there, and the fact that, again, you're going to burn your Nike stuff. Okay, well, why don't you give it to the homeless veterans?
It's like you're so worried
I
about.
mean, yeah, but they're not really. It's a fake worry, It's like those people who raised all that money for the homeless guy, raised them $400,000 and then took it.
They were like, you know what? We're just going to go on vacation, and we can't let you have it because you might do drugs.
Yep.
It's safe somewhere, okay?
And so when you bring it all back in, so let's wrangle ourselves in here. But, I mean, that's the state of our nation. Like, that we're willing to be more upset about Colin Kaepernick and the face of Nike than we are about Judge Kavanaugh's lying past. The fact that he shouldn't even be there because he's already been caught lying under oath during all of this. Yes. Our president has been caught lying on several occasions.
Every day.
Exactly. And nobody's stopping them. And that doesn't make people mad. But Colin Kaepernick makes you mad?
What's interesting, have you seen the memes going around about Pat Tillman? Who was an NFL player.
Yep, and then
he went into the military and he was killed. And his family released a statement and said, please stop using our son, husband, or, please stop using him as an example because we can, and this is from his family, not friends or anything. These are people who actually knew him personally and said that as an NFL player and then as somebody who went into the military, he would have supported.
Yeah.
That. I mean,
because there was that Kyle guy and his wife is against it, and so now suddenly Tillman no longer matters because Kyle's wife came out and said something completely different. And I'm like,
that agrees with you, but you were passing Pat Tillman's photo around 2 days ago, and now you're like, well,
never mind, because obviously he's not a real American. It's shocking. What does it mean to be a real American, Crawford?
You know what? I think to everybody it's different, and some people are very extreme about it. Any kind of group of people, they're all different. No, just because people share, like, the military and vets, they don't all feel the same way. Obviously, we've seen that with the argument about... Sorry, I'm going to pet my dog. This is how it is, Miles. This is how my life is. This is me all day.
It's crazy.
I know, ain't it? Look, you're over here petting one.
Oh, yeah.
All right. But no group of people feels the same way about one issue. Like, not all vets. It's split down the middle. I agree, and then I don't agree. I didn't fight for the right. I fought for the right, and it's like, okay, well, everybody fought for a different reason. Did you fight for the First Amendment? Did you fight for, like...
And exactly what you're saying, though. And some of them went to war intentionally.
Right.
And some of them got drafted into a war.
Right.
And some of them fought, and they had to find what their meaning of their own freedom was in a different way, and that's okay, too. The great thing about America is that we're allowed to not agree.
Yes.
We're allowed to, and not only that, but just because we don't agree doesn't make you wrong or make me wrong. It just means that we see two different things. And I will fight fight, but I will argue people, tooth and nail about diversity wars. And I will fight them through a lot of things because there's statistics and there's this and there's so much. But however, when it comes down to what we think somebody else should do because of what they think America should stand for, the thing about America is that we are not supposed to stand for just one thing.
No.
We saved, and we're quote unquote supposed to be, but not with this president, supposed to be saving people from having to live underneath one thought, from having to live underneath one voice.
Right, that's called a dictatorship, dick faces.
And I don't understand why people really want us, why we're not wrapping our arms around the differences that we have. Why are we not embracing the fact that we don't agree? Locally, you'll see, I'm in the middle of writing a nice long blog about, we have a local guy here who's getting completely screwed by our government locally. And it's very, very upsetting. But to cut a very long story short, this guy and I would see nothing eye to eye.
Yeah.
There's nothing about his religion or his politics that I would ever agree with.
Right.
Almost on any level. But
what they're doing to him is fucked up.
Exactly.
And I will fight for your right for when you're being wrong. I don't care if I agree with you or not. You know what I mean?
And exactly. Like, here's somebody who I may, me and him could probably never agree on almost probably, I would say, any kind of lifestyle that either one of us are living. Yeah. However, at the end of the day, hey, I may not agree with you, but you're really getting screwed over by our local government. Like, I'm going to stand by you, not because it's against our local government, because
they're not even following the law.
They're not, and they're really screwing this guy over. But if you are interested, that blog should be up in the next 48 hours. And
it's a petty neighborhood dispute.
And then our mayor got her hands into because somebody's wife is mother
next door to the mayor
or something like that. It's real dumb, but
it's what do you call that? I know there's a word for it, but I am not gonna.
But it's real terrible. But here's somebody who I don't agree with. I don't agree with how he believes or how he sees things, but I believe in his right to. I believe that he's being wronged, and I believe that there's an injustice. And even though I may not agree with him, doesn't mean that I should. Just because they don't like somebody doesn't mean that they should always have an injustice against them.
Right, I shouldn't be like, well, I don't like you, so...
It's okay if you get killed by a cop in your own house while you were sitting there watching TV because they walked in.
You deserved it.
Exactly, Because
I could hate, outside of, racism, things like that, I wouldn't probably support a white nationalist. I don't know why. Just because...
I don't believe in that either.
And you know what? I don't know. I can't... I'm like, I don't agree with that guy at all, but there are some people that I truly would despise, and I don't know if I would stand up for them. I think I would, though, just because that's just injustice. The government...
I hate white nationalists, but I don't think I could ever...
This whole dispute is over a fucking yard, by the way, everybody.
Yeah.
They vacated the streets so that he can't get to his property. He owns a huge piece of property. It's all over how he takes care of his backyard.
Yeah.
And because they want to live an alternative lifestyle. And like we talked about Finley.
Yep.
It's a police state. They have it, like we talked about, neat. They'll come around and tell you that your grass is too long. They've got the dog Gestapo.
Yeah.
Papers, please. Sean cracked me up so bad when he said that last. He was like, there's a dog warden that comes around and checks to make sure that your dogs are registered.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and right now they don't want us riding bikes on Main Street, and then if we do have bikes, we now have to have our bikes licensed.
Dismount zones.
Dismount zones, and now if we are riding our bikes on Main Street, they have the right to pull us over to find out whether or not we have a bike license, like a regular bicycle people. That's the kind of town I'm living in right now.
That's just so that they have a reason to stop you.
Yep, and they have a reason to fine you and to pay for the debts that they refuse to have the big corporations in our town pay for because they don't make a majority of these large corporations moving in pay taxes. So we've been really screwed over here. But that's all local, politics, and that doesn't affect everybody. But what I do feel what affects everybody, and anybody who's listening, is whether they're from, America or not from America, is that, everybody's having a problem, I think, that Donald Trump started in America. And you can, and though it was happening in other nations, people are starting to feel more and more outwardly okay because of what Donald Trump is doing. And it's ridiculous when you see that there's people out there who now feel invigorated to share the hate and to share their points of views. And that's why somebody like Kavanaugh is getting flown through the Senate, because not only has there obviously been protests almost every single day that he has been there, But the Senate actually doesn't care about you. And I really hate to break it to anybody who's listening. But the reason that we think that voting is important is because your vote, especially when you don't vote, especially even for your small town politics, this is the kind of stuff that happens. You allow senators to just blindly allow a dumbass to be on the Supreme Court for the rest of his life. We're talking 40 or 50. If he listened to his 90s.
Term anymore, honestly, with the Supreme being elected for life, I don't think I like that anymore.
No, I don't understand why that was ever okay. Like, why?
We don't have, presidents have terms. I feel like Supreme Court justices should have terms, maybe 20 years. Maybe.
Yeah.
15.
But not only that, but why aren't Supreme Court justices elected?
Why are they picked? And then shouldn't we vote for them?
Yeah. I feel like the Supreme Court should be chosen by the people as much as you're talking about. Supreme Court will have more of a say almost than our own senators in Congress and governors and mayors ever will. So why do we pick our senators? Well, they're going to be our voice. Okay, but that's just the thing is I didn't vote for some of these people that are in office, and these people are now taking my voice and voting for somebody now I don't even want in the Supreme Court. And as senator, I can vote out. We can really rally together and get them out of there, but a Supreme Court judge really has to fuck up bad in order to be kicked off.
I'm really worried about RGB, Ruth Gator.
I mean, that woman's a fierce, but she's only got, she's what, 85 now?
I'm scared.
I know, we should be. She's our last standing voice. If she dies during Trump's presidency, that means that he gets three Supreme Court picks.
Hit and Go or Park Place or what is it on
What the hell are you talking about?
on the Monopoly board. When you
Boardwalk.
Boardwalk. It's like when you hit Please Pass Go, collect your $200. I mean, that's just like when you get to go around the board. And I'm thinking I'm in the wrong game.
No, you're thinking about Monopoly. You're thinking of the right game. I was super confused for a minute.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to type a message to my rather loud son who is not respecting the podcast hour.
I don't think you can hear him too much.
I can. I hope he can hear me.
But,
Edit that out.
no, for somebody like Trump to have 2 Supreme Court justice picks is ridiculous, in my opinion.
At all.
In the first 2 years he's here.
Yeah.
In the first 2 years, a man's president.
We got some old folks.
I mean, we're so screwed on so many levels, and the problem is that it's going to have to be shit in a handbasket before anybody actually does anything about it.
Right.
But we're going to be so far gone that it's going to be so hard to get out of that hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they're just slowly, like, we're already pretty much in the handbasket per se, and metaphorically speaking, and all they have to do is shut the lid. And it's going to take us a really long time. Like, we are putting such a precedence in our lackadaisical inability to get out into the streets. And I get that we can't get out into the streets because we have to pay our bills. I understand.
We can't take time off work to protest.
Nope.
We get paid too much. We don't get paid enough. It's that we get paid too much. You know what? I was able to afford a second meal today, so.
Yeah, there's that. But I mean, those tax breaks, I'm telling you, it's something. And it's really, really shocking to me that what we're doing, and I'm very upset about the state of politics. And I hope that other people know as well that also the fact that we are very political, that not all of our podcasts, if you just started to listen to...
Yeah.
We do a nice variety of things.
I think so, too. We usually do put in a little bit about politics, but not much. Mm-hmm. We might do 5 minutes on...
But there's been so much going on the last month that
I feel like we do a why we hate Trump this week spot.
Yeah.
Without actually calling it that, but we usually are like, so we hate Trump.
Yeah, and then here's the other fucked up news of America, because there's so much fucked up news of America.
Have you heard this?
Yep.
I mean, if you wanted to keep up with the news, you'd have to read it all fucking day long, because it's just that.
It's really sad. It's. I used to be that person who used to refresh like her newsfeed every 10 minutes. Now I can't, unless there's like something really crazy going on. But I can't. It's so mentally and emotionally draining for me.
It is. It's overwhelming, and I've read articles about that. Have you seen Barack Obama stomping around, making speeches?
I have heard him stomping around and giving speeches. I
had a lady boner today at work while I was getting to open. I had CNN on, and they were, doing snippets of his speech, and I was like, preach, brother, preach.
Get it, please.
God, I love the way he talks. I don't care anything about anything else about Obama. That man can do a speech.
Yeah, he can. And that's okay. But I mean, the man can speak. Joe Biden can speak. There's so many people that can speak. And what I find really interesting is that we are getting so close to November.
Yes.
And we're getting so close to the 2018. So people, again, just do me a small favor. Check your registration. Look at your local elections board and find out if you're registered to vote.
Double check, even if you.
And then, by the way,
sure
also
that
remember to go vote. And if you're like, I hate voting because I have to like drive
get
somewhere.
an absent ballot. You can get it, buddy. You
can literally vote while you're sitting at home. I mean, seriously. And again, all of this starts with local town politics, and it moves its way. People start off as a city council member, and then they move on into a mayor, and then they move on into a house rep, and then they turn into a senator. All of those positions have most of them, some of them, have been started as a very, very small town. And people just kept saying, well, they're the Republican ballot, they're the Democratic ballot, they're this ballot, so I'm going to vote for them and then they end up getting screwed over in 20 years, and they're like, what the hell? Did you ever read up on them? This has been their policy for the last 20 years. Yeah. But we got this, and then we've got the 2020 election coming on, and that's going to be that whole year. Now that's the year.
That's going to be a fun general election.
That's going to be a crazy general election. I really want to know who's running. I don't understand why we don't know who's running yet.
We haven't had any whispers or, like...
There's nothing. That's very kind of scary to me.
About 2 years before the presidential election, you'll start hearing about people who are...
But we are. We're 2 years and 2 months away.
That's what I mean. Is usually, that's when you start to hear about people who are considering running. I've heard a couple whispers from different people, but I really don't think that Trump will get a second term. I just don't. I think that he has ruined enough that I don't think that he will.
Do you think he's going to do the great George W. Bush, start a war right before election season?
He probably would. Well, here's the thing: is I've noticed, and I don't know if maybe it's just the town that I live in. But there are a lot of kids going into the Marines. They are pushing hard to recruit Marines. When I drive down the highway, I see recruitment billboards. I know personally in the last year of at least 7 kids, casually, of people I know that I wait on, whose nephew, niece, son, daughter, granddaughter, they're at Paris Island in South Carolina, becoming Marines. Like, to me that's weird because all my life I've never known that many people to go into the service.
And now suddenly everybody's going into the service.
Well, and not just that, but I've heard a couple stories from 18-year-olds who have been getting calls from recruiters because when they turn 18, you have to sign up for the selective service, and they've actually been called by recruiters, like they're actively recruiting, and that worries me because I think, why are they recruiting Marines? Like Marines. Not everybody I've known, they're Marines. It's not Air Force. I know one guy went in the Air Force, but the rest of them are all Marines. What's going on?
I think we're doing something, and there's a lot of
Marines are like our special force or whatever, aren't they? Aren't they like the badasses?
Yeah, you guys are the badasses.
Yeah.
We love you, Marines.
I do love them in there.
I love those little uniforms. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Anyways, back to... oh, my God. I bet you they wear basketball shorts.
I bet you that's all they wear. Out in the desert in the high winds.
Oh, Lord. Tan basketball shorts just blowing in the breeze.
But we are. Don't get me wrong. We've always been actively recruiting. Always. But I
There's
agree.
An uptick.
There's an uptick. But there's a reason for the uptick.
But quietly.
Quietly.
I don't have cable, though. I haven't watched cable TV in like 8 years. I watch it at work because we get it. But I'm not exposed to commercial ads or anything like that.
Neither am I. I do a lot of streaming, so...
I didn't realize how out of the loop or whatever, but I've been hearing political ads lately. And we're laughing because I have one cat who, don't do it, Miles, don't look at him. If you look at him, like he'll stare at you until you look at him, and then he'll come get up on your lap. See, he's circling behind her now. He's going to get her from the back. But I was like, as I was talking, she was talking, I was giving the motion like, don't look at him, don't look at him, because he will come for you. She's actually slowly acquiring a pile of cats over there.
Actually, it's a special power of mine. Yeah. Side note, it's everybody's house I go to, if they have multiple pets, it's legit happens every time. The dogs and the cat, like, I have
He just scared the shit out of himself. No reason. I'm sorry.
I have a natural affliction for animals.
To the podcast, I didn't realize that they were gonna. They're not usually. If it's just me, they've not met you, is what it is. Usually they're off doing their own thing.
Animals love me and don't deny my ability to have an animal calling.
I Dr. Doolittle sitting here. I'm not kidding. Like, the longer she sits here, I'm glad she's not allergic to cats because she gains one like every 10 minutes.
They really do like me.
I don't know if you'll be able to get out of here or not. They've got you landlocked, catlocked.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I know I keep talking about my pets because it's kind of cracking me up. I'm sorry. It makes me giggle. I have a can of whipped cream here. We could go around and give each a little. I do that. That's because I'm weird. But anyways, back to our subject. I'm sorry.
We're back to talking about the Army and recruitment.
And I actually didn't get stoned for this podcast, so I'm not having a hard time remembering what I was talking about once. I'm legal to smoke it. Actually, it's not. You can't smoke it. You can do everything in Ohio with our medical marijuana except for smoke it. So I definitely don't smoke it now. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. So Burt Reynolds died. I am.
We went from like recruitment to Burt Reynolds.
Devastated.
I know you are.
Hour.
We should
hour, Miles.
Variety hour. So now we're going to pause and give Crawford the mic about Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds, I just want you to know how much I love you. And he's supposed to be in the new Tarantino movie that he's, I think it's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, perhaps.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Something about Hollywood. And I know that the whole Manson family thing that plays into it somehow, but it's not about that.
Yeah.
But he was set to star in that, and I'm sad because that would have been his last video. It'd been his last movie, and I think they did shoot some footage because I read that he was shooting. I like Tarantino movies, so I thought he had a really cool cast built up for that. So Burt Reynolds died. We'll never hear his laugh again unless we watch Smokey and the Bandit or. He did say that Sally Fields was the love of his life, and I thought that just a couple years ago he actually said that, read that, and I thought that was really, really sweet. You go your whole life knowing that somebody was your true love and you let them go. You know what I mean? Like
heartbreaking.
And I posted that picture of Burt Reynolds and Playboy when he did the centerfold, and the only thing that's basically covering his junk is like a tiger paw. He's on a beer skin rug or a line.
Bearskin rug.
You know what?
I haven't done that in so long.
Is this my story or no? But bearskin? No, it's not a bearskin. It's a bear.
It's a bear.
Can we do a poll on Twitter about this?
Wait.
Let's do a poll.
What is it? Is it a black bear or a brown bear?
It was brown. I'm not sure.
Say it. Say a black bear.
Bear.
There you go. So it was a bearskin rug.
It was a bearskin rug. You're right. I'm glad we worked through that. I'm glad. I always feel like this is my. We should rename our podcast to My Fair Lady with Miles and Crawford. Because even when I had Sean on, he was like, "Did you mean?" And I was like, "I'm so glad that you stepped in for Miles because usually she corrects me. I have logistics. That goes back to episode 6, everybody.
We did a whole entire
linguini. I'm like, pasta. I don't remember.
This is what happens. We haven't been together for a while, folks. This has been. I know it's real scattered. We know that.
No, I don't think it is at all. I think we got a natural flow going.
I think we're pretty good. So
I feel like politics.
What else? Yeah.
It's news.
Something else happened. Adventure Time ended.
Oh yes, we would. You know what? Should I pull up Twitter and we can pull up what you were excited to talk about?
I mean,
she's got an Adventure Time.
I got Lemon Grab. I got his shirt and.
Adventure Time ended, and Miles was very sad. I haven't watched since season 5 or 6. My son outgrew it, and then we don't have cable, and I did download and stream it or whatever, and then he just lost interest in it, which I was like, that's weird. So I've kind of dropped off, but I definitely, like, if it's on, I'll be like, you know, where your mouth kind of falls open a little bit, and you're like...
Yeah, and you can watch like 15 episodes, and they're like 15-minute long, so it doesn't feel like you're binging too much.
They are.
You know,
They're just little tiny episodes.
Yeah, but they're so profound, and if you haven't, I get it.
I love Adventure Time.
Dude, it's so great.
You know that was originally an adult cartoon.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Like, well, it was. They tried to sell it to Adult Swim, and Adult Swim was like, no. And then Cartoon Network, which they're both the same, you know.
Yeah, the
Cartoon
same,
Network
but
was like, could you maybe make it for kids and we'll buy it? And they were like, yeah. So that's why a lot of adults like Adventure Times, because it was actually originally intended for adults, just like Flapjack was too.
Yeah, and you can tell with Adventure Time that it was meant for adults. There's a lot of like some of the profound it's so great. Like Finn and watching him kind of grow up. I know it's a cartoon, folks, but see, Finn, unlike the Simpsons, Finn actually grows throughout the years. You know, his voice changes. Everything about him actually, like, it's phenomenal, and he goes through all those he goes through all the great stories.
Ben 10 did that too, though.
I didn't watch Ben 10.
Well, my oldest son that was about his, and he's 22, so it was probably about 10 years ago. But Ben 10 did that, where he was just like 8 or 9, and then they had a new season that came on, and he was like 13, 14. You know what I mean? Like he moved up. That was another one. You don't find that in cartoons a lot where they actually age.
Yeah, and they really need. They really need to. But I think it's so great. Like, it's one of the things, and I will give it to Adventure Time. I mean, they've definitely have kept it real, and I was really sad to see that it, you know, finally came to its big finale, and they did their very first. So there's 2 main characters. There is Marceline and there is Bubblegum, and they are off and on again frenemies throughout almost. Yeah, they are, and they're so great. But at the very last moment of the show, they finally embraced in this really super long kiss, and I was like, holy shit, they're
lesbians.
Yeah, but I mean, you could, which I had picked up on, I think it was a season or 2 ago, when they because there's a lot of things they have in common. Both of them are very, very, very old, even though they're very young.
Yes.
They both have seen a lot of shit, and there was a time where there was a war starting, and it was just the 2 of them, and kind of how Marceline and Bubblegum, you know, you would see them cuddle up on a couch together or whatever else. So you kind of could see that there was you know, but it was just a really strong friendship. But then you kind of saw that finally blossom into more. And again, well, Amanda, everybody's, you know, kissing on TV and lesbians aren't. But I get that, you know, we've definitely crossed that border. But that was a really, I think, powerful thing for Adventure Time to do because of the fact that, you know, it never really kind of explored that aspect. They explored a lot about Bubblegum and Finn in the beginning years, about that possible relationship, and even as Finn at some point, you know, there's this great epic moment where Finn finally tells Bubblegum no, you can't say that to me, and blah. It was just all these great things. So anyways, Adventure Time is over with, and I'm very sad. I could ramble on about that probably forever.
It's a great cartoon.
I
really hate when shows end, because then you're like, well, what am I going to watch now?
I know, but you know me, I'm a rerun-aholic anyways. I'm still watching MASH. I mean, MASH went back on Hulu, and I'm like, fuck my life, I'm going back there. I can't even help it.
Golden Girls.
There we go, another good one.
Them and their life
so
lessons.
good.
You know, you go back and you watch sitcoms from the 80s and 90s, and you realize how they all had morals to the story, and it was always a lesson. I didn't realize that about Golden Girls until I started watching it again. I'm like, these are all public PSAs.
Yeah.
You know, for older women.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you know, my vagina gets dry.
Yeah, they talked about that. They talked about lesbians. I mean, there's all kinds of things that they talked about in there that I thought was really amazing.
I did too, because I watched it. I mean, I was 12 or 13. I mean, I was young, but I still got Golden Girls, but I got it on a different level because I was young.
Yeah.
But now I watch it now, and I'm like, these all have messages.
Yeah.
Every single episode is they don't put it in your face, but it's these things affect older women.
Yeah. And all you have to do is really gotta watch shows.
I just watched the episode where Rose slept with some dude and he died.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one, man. She pounded him to death, man. She pounded him to death.
Dude in your bed and he's dead.
I mean...
It's cool, though.
I mean, you got some good vagina.
I really love Golden Girls, though.
Well, let's see what else has been going on. So we've got Terrible Politics, as always. Burt Reynolds. We covered Adventure Time. I went on another rant on Twitter at some point about what I wanted to talk about, but we'll get there, maybe. I don't even remember now because I was probably a little bit on the list.
This is just our season opener.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be super. Just, I think people are just glad to have us back together and shooting the...
And if you're not, fuck off. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But we are shooting for getting some interviews down. Hopefully, you know, this week, what I'm going to try to do is I think the ultimate goal is to get us together, get a bunch of interviews banged out, and then that way we have a few boom. Yeah, and then in the in-betweens we can be like, hey, back to us, and then here's some more interviews. And I'd like to I want to interview podcasters. I want to find out, what up?
How you doing?
What do they want to talk about?
I really enjoyed when we were on Dumb All Over. That was fun.
I love that one. That was so much fun.
And I think that's what gave us the bug to be like, we want people on our show too.
Yeah.
And it is kind of fun.
Basket Case. We know that Basket Case. Because
Basket Case, you are so getting on our podcast.
Yeah. And your sister, obviously, too.
Going
Who knows? She might be like our third wheel when we can't find an interview. We'll just start popping her on.
Come on, Haley, get on in here.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You did.
I would be really embarrassed if he was like, my sister's name is Kelly. No, I'm just joking.
No, but I think it'd be great, and I can't, mostly to just all the other podcasters and just talking to them and just finding out, because we hear your podcasts and we hear everybody's rants, rambles, or like ABCD bags, which is like such a fucking weird, abstract fucking podcast, but I love it. And but I want to just, who are you? What are you guys about? Da 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 da. And at some point, we can get with Gareth and Bex, because they're 14 hours ahead of us.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we have to really
do like either like an early morning their nighttime.
Okay.
Or like, which would be weird for us, but
I don't.
Well, I was thinking that even if we
I'd
did,
be the quiet one on that.
I feel like I think it'd be good for them to do like just do like, hey, by the way, we'll take a little nappy nap and we'll like you usually work on Sundays though, don't you?
Every other.
Like one of those Sundays that you don't work, be like, let's just like pod at like 1 o'clock in the morning and be like loopy, and then they'll be up and they'll, it'll be whatever time, it'd be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon their time on Sunday afternoon.
I wonder how that's gonna be like, you're loopy at 1 but you're coherent at 2, so we'll all be like, well, we are
that'll all be drunk the entire time. So
they're already in tomorrow. So
how's Tomorrowland going?
Tomorrowland. I just was wondering.
I feel like we should just listen to them on like, they need, for like every time there's a New Year's, we need to talk to them first to find out if the world really did end and if the Mayans really were right or wrong about their calendar.
We were just a few years off.
We were always just a few years off the Mayan calendar. I mean,
I can barely count myself.
So many times the world was supposed to end.
No.
It's really shocking to me.
Yeah, I think we finally gotten past a lot of those because everybody thought it was going to be the year 2000, and here we are almost 20 years after the year 2000.
I think what really happened is that Trump became president, and now we're like, okay, fuck all the calendars. The Mayan calendar was not talking about the world ending. It was about the fucking, how stupid could we be, and we found out. We put Donald Trump as a president, and that's the end of the world. That's how we screwed up. And that's what the Mayans were talking about the entire time.
Exactly. They, I had my boyfriend Miller on, and we talked about conspiracies and things like that. And that's when he got kind of crazy, was when the Mayan thing started to approach. He's like, we got 4 years left.
Yeah.
He really dragged me down the day. He started to get me freaked out. Like, I think he might be right. We might all just get thrown off the earth.
It might happen. By the way, we actually hit all of it. Colin, Adventure Time, Cabin Fuck, Local Town Politics. Yeah.
We did?
Yeah, we hit all of our spots.
I'm so happy.
I'm so happy. Where are we at, by the way? What kind of time do we have? Look at us. Only this 40-ish minutes? Shit, we've got time.
We're about 48 minutes in.
I mean, look at us.
We're all like, let's get back on track.
Look, I'm just saying.
She's like a fucking drill sergeant.
I am. I'm
she
sorry.
She missed potting. She had to get her pod on.
I really did. We can't.
You feel better?
You should just like leave this like this, so that way I'm gonna come back over on Monday, and then we'll just do another one.
See, I want to, but as you have seen the situation in my home, this will not be here on Monday. That will be across the room.
Well, that's fine, but let's just like not fuck with the channels this time.
Oh no, yeah, that will definitely. That will stay the way it is, and I'll probably put that with its cover or a box over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we'll just have to set up our arms.
Yeah, we can do that.
I work till 5 on Monday. So
I hate that you work, but I work until 5 on Monday too, so it's fine.
I think I work till 4, man.
I mean, I've been going in late to work because I'm trying to, eat that and, yeah, basically. And with Jack starting school and Parker at different times now, I'm trying to stay at home later.
Yeah.
So that way he's, Jack likes to sleep a lot, so I need to make sure that he's actually like out of bed, because if I leave too early in the morning, he'll go back to sleep.
I had a problem with Aiden, and I eventually had to go to juvenile court. And I was like, listen, he literally shuts the alarms off and makes sure that he has. And actually I had to go to court with him because he was late too much. He didn't miss school. I'd be like, you have to be at school at 8, and I'd pick him at 10:30, But they count that as a half day.
Yeah.
And then
schools don't fuck around them all.
Yeah, they don't. So they get you for truancy quick.
God.
But that was when he was in, like, 5th grade, and he's a freshman now. You know, he learned his lesson. They put him on probation.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, they don't fuck around.
When I was on 3rd shift and the kids didn't start school until 9, but I got up at 6 a.m., the extra 3 hours was killer. And my kids were late so often. I just want to sleep, but they were too close to the school to bus ride, but they were too small to walk on their own. And I was just screwed. I was just
3 hours of just trying to make it. And then, it's not even 3 hours. Like, you got to make it home, then you're in bed by 9:30, 10. You got to get back up at 2 and go get them.
Yeah, it was just dumb.
I worked 3rd shift for a long time, and I still, like, if I stay up too late, I'll stay up till 5 in the morning. That's when my best thoughts come to me.
I mean, 5 o'clock is a good time.
Cat's gonna get her paws all over the mail.
Well, they're gonna have some kitty prints on the mail. That's good. And I think there might even be some cards that might have coffee stains on them.
You know what?
It's all original.
Yeah. Well, that's our signature
MO.
mark. Yeah.
It really is.
It's all about coffee. Although this coffee didn't really pep me up as much as I thought it would.
No, but that's okay. I mean,
I thought it really would. I made it strong.
But you gotta get to bed. You got a stupid day tomorrow.
I just work tomorrow. I work 10 hours tomorrow.
I feel really bad that I don't know Mac Miller. Did you know Mac, like the rapper? Did you listen to his music, by the way?
No.
Okay.
I maybe if I saw his picture or heard his music, but the name does not ring a bell.
I feel real bad. I know there's a lot of you people who were like big Mac Miller fans. Super sorry that we did not. We also lost Aretha.
Yes, we did lose Aretha.
Whose funeral kind of turned into a shit show, but I mean, sad. I know, poor woman.
Somebody else. I mean.
Alex Jones finally got fully banned from Twitter, so that was a good one.
Did you see where he confronted Marco Rubio? Mark Rubio, not Marco.
I think it is Marco Rubio.
Is it?
That's what I always called him.
Okay, well, he's got an O on both. It's fine.
Yeah.
He confronted him at one of the hearings or something, and he kept putting his hands on him, and Rubio was like, I don't know, he said something like, put your hands on, I'll take care of you myself, basically, or something like that, but it was all caught on camera, and Alex Jones was just being crazy.
Dude, he's a nut job.
He is, and, he got divorced, and his wife's like, he's crazy. I'm telling y'all, he's a fucking nut job.
But y'all want to believe him, and that's okay, because that's the American way.
Yeah, that's the American way. Let's see here. Have you had a chance to really watch, and besides Adventure Time, listen, or what's going on in your media selection?
My media selection is awesome, as always.
Rotating.
Rotating-wise, honestly, TV, I haven't really found anything new. I've just been kind of, I watched that Transformers movie the last night, and it was just as terribly awesome as it always, all Transformer.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg is in that one. God, he's just got it.
You know what? I have loved him since.
Him and Josh Duhamel.
He's married to Fergie.
Yeah. God, he's sexy too.
Yeah, I love his butt. There's a lot of fine men in Hollywood.
There really is.
I'm a big Tom Hardy fan, and I've noticed that he mostly doesn't really speak a lot in his acting roles. I've noticed that. I'm like, you're just a pretty boy.
Yep, that's what he's there for.
He's like stoic. See? There, you got another one, buddy.
Got another one. Other than that, media listening has been pretty much the same. My podcast, as always, I love all the shout-outs. Obviously, Married AF, their other episodes are great, but 2 episodes ago, they had Rachel Miller back on, and it was crazy profound and awesome. And then obviously Drinks with Larry, everybody in the No Phony podcast network, Basket
I love
Case.
Everybody in the No Phony network, they're all the best.
They really are.
And I've been getting a lot more listening to just random episodes from all of our friends.
They're so great. And Basket Case, Haley did a really great her very first diary via podcast.
Heroin Diaries.
Yeah, the Heroin Diaries, and it was really good. And for her, first. Hey, I'm really going to talk about me now. It was really good. And then I don't know. Dopey's been doing great. I know that, Dave's having a hell of a hard time trying to figure it all out without Chris around. Yeah. But I still appreciate your shit, Dave. I still think it's wonderful.
You keep going, buddy, because there's a lot of people that rely on that. I haven't mentioned it before, but my son is a heroin addict, or he was, and he's in rehab right now. And it's been really sad for the last few months for my family.
That's been really hard. It's been very difficult.
And it's been nice to connect with Basket Case, especially.
Yeah.
Because his sister's gone through the same thing. I haven't actually talked to her, met Haley. So, but my son's in rehab,
and so it's been very, very difficult at this time. And so it's good that there's outlets out there, that there are other people who are talking about it. So those who are going through it kind of also have their own stories or their own ability to be able to relate to it, or where Dopey, they have the really good stories, of just, sometimes they're really funny. I mean, they're sad, but they're funny.
You know what? Any kind of story about addiction or where you've been like at the worst part of your life, it is a funny story.
It's really funny.
I mean, like after it carries on, but he's in a really intensive therapy program, and it's nice to go see him because I haven't seen him like that in 5 or 6 years. He's just completely different. My son is.
Yeah.
And so I forgot who he was because heroin changed him so much, And I actually just connected with somebody that I used to work with at Cracker Barrel. Both of her daughters are heroin addicts, and she's going through the same thing with trying to get custody of her granddaughter. And I watch Finley, where Miles lives. I actually have a active inmates website, which is like the best gossip site in town.
It really is.
And so I check that relatively often because I need to check for certain people. And plus I'm just nosy. And I happen to notice that this woman, that both her daughters have been in and out for possession of heroin. And I know that she's got grandkids, and she's always taking pictures with her grandkids, like, excessively. Not just visit, you know what I mean? And so, after about, I'm not joking, probably a year and a half of watching her timeline, but not saying anything, I messaged her a couple nights ago, and I was like, I don't know how you're going to take this. You're going to be offended if I'm completely off the mark. But I think we're going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, and I told her, and our stories are almost exactly the same. My fear is, her daughter has overdosed 3 or 4 times. She's actually had to save her own daughter's life. She's overdosed in her bathroom, or she's actually had to save her own kid's life. And that's how I came across is that she got picked up. Her probation officer put her back in jail, and they're keeping her there until they can send her to a rehab, like my son is in, but not the same one, but a different one. So it scares me because I'm afraid that, my son is just 6-7 months into his heroin addiction. He just started doing heroin, and I'm scared that she's coming down the bottom of her hill. Both her kids have overdosed. She's been through hell already. Yeah. And I'm scared that I'm at the top of the hill. I have a sunny outlook, and rehab's gonna fix everything, and we're all just gonna move ahead, and it's all gonna be great and fine. And I have this dark feeling inside me. It's like, no, he could still overdose and die someday, and that's my biggest fear.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to have somebody in your life that does heroin, and you see people who post that heroin addicts should die, or leave them die, or save houses, and I don't think that people understand how hurtful that is. You're talking about my son, that you think my son should just die. I raised him. I rocked him as a baby. You don't understand they don't understand what that's like to say that about your own child. It's like my own friends. They don't know what I'm going through, and they post that stuff because they don't know, and I don't talk about it. But it's like, wait until it happens to you and somebody in your life. That cancer's a disease, addiction isn't. Well, the American Association of Psychiatrists or whatever, you making yourself a fur coat over there? They classify it as a disease, so whether or not you think it is or isn't, there's professionals out there who have said that it is a fucking disease. I have witnessed it for myself. I raised a child into his teenage years, and I watched him get into heroin, and it completely changed who he was. That's not who he was before heroin. So no, he doesn't deserve to just die in a fucking bathroom alone. Yeah. So fuck you to any of you who have... I'm serious, fuck you. I hope you fucking die, because you deserve to have that small amount of compassion for your fellow fucking human, because I guarantee you're addicted to something. If it's caffeine or fucking cake, or you know what I mean? I'm sorry to get ranted. Fuck you, we're all addicted to something. So don't, just because what my son does is kills people, that doesn't mean they deserve to die. Do gamblers deserve to die when they go broke? I suppose they feel that way. You know, it's very hurtful, and I just wish that people would be mindful when they say things like that, because when you post that on your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, whether or not you know somebody that you're friends with or acquaintances,
you probably know somebody, you don't realize
you don't realize that you just truly hurt somebody's heart by posting that. Just because they don't talk about it doesn't mean that that's not something that's somebody very close to you in their life. You know?
No, I agree, and I completely agree to that. And I know that I even had a completely different perspective of the heroin epidemic up until you went through that. I'm not gonna lie, like I wasn't one of those like leave them on the streets and die, but I did have a really like hard time.
It's when
deciphering.
You're not affected it, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and where I'm like, you know, I have a heart, you know, because there's those who get better and those who don't, but there's also. It's also the same thing about even like rehabilitation and how that happens. Actually, today I was actually listening to Dopey, and he had Brandon Novak on, and Brandon Novak was a big time skater.
Yeah.
Hung out with like Bam and all them during the jet.
Huge. My son is a skateboarder, so I know exactly who that is.
Yeah. So Brandon Novak was on, and he has gotten clean and sober, and he's doing great. And he talks about how the 12-step program is really working for him.
Right.
But then, you know, Dave brought about the fact that, you know, there's people he knows that they are completely clean, but every once in a while they'll still have a few drinks, or they're going to get high off of marijuana or something.
Yeah.
And
it's a lifelong struggle. It's not something that they just go to rehab and kick. It's a lifelong where they have to ignore that ticking in the back of their head, like, let's get high.
Yeah, and even Brandon made a good point, but both him and Dave were talking pretty extensively about it. It was really good. They both made this point that no one goes through rehab the same way. Just because somebody kicks it right off, and if somebody doesn't kick it right off, doesn't mean that one way works and one way doesn't. Right. It's the same aspect with, let's go with like pain meds in general. Like, me and you are going to have two completely different reactions to Xanax.
Right.
You know, how it affects me and how it affects you are probably...
Take it or leave it.
Yep.
And one of us has to take it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm just saying that, like, how it... But it's one of those things where people just... there you go.
And that's just pencil, everybody. Doesn't see it. Yeah.
But it's just, you know, and how some people, you know... people could take oxys and were able to take them and then walked away from it, and it was no problem.
I did. I took Oxycontin for 2 years.
Yeah.
The stuff that they're probably going to take off the market. The big one that they're suing, and that they said that's why people got addicted to heroin was because of that. I was on that, and I kicked it because I didn't know that it was you know what I mean, at the time. And I was able to kick it, but I also have always smoked marijuana, which helped me get through my withdrawal and everything. But every once in a while, I get a hankering for an oxy. Yeah, I'm like, man, I could really but I'm addicted to pain relief too. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I do miss those oxys. Yeah, you know, and so it is a lifelong struggle. But I've never looked for it. I've never gotten an urge so bad that I'm like, I'm gonna go see if I can buy some pills. Yeah, or, you know, and that's you, and that's not some other people. Lucky. Yeah, but my son got into Percocet and then moved on to heroin and fentanyl. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, that's a family line, that's a bloodline. I was able to kick it and I'm good. You know, after I stopped taking them, you know, every once in a while I'd get a script for 10 of them or whatever when I was in a lot of pain. And I would take my prescription and be fine, you know, go through a little bit of withdrawal because your body's addicted to it. But I don't feel that pull like others. But I understand, you know, like how I know I took that medication. I know how it makes you feel. I would never do heroin. I know I would never do heroin. I've never felt that need to take an Oxy or Percocet or any other kind of... I was just very lucky, but it makes me so sad because my son has such an addictive personality. He always has. Yeah. So I'm just very scared that I'm at the top of the hill, that the friend that I was talking to, she's already gone down the hill with overdosing and saving her own kid's life. Like, I'm optimistic and I am fully supporting him, and, you know, and you can do this, but
there's always that lingering feeling. You know, there's always that lingering in the back of the head of how is it. I don't have
any kind of cloudiness or false hope, or I think that this is going to solve everything and we're going to get past it. Yeah. This could just be me at the top of the hill and I'll lose my son in 2 years. Yeah. You know, or he might move on and get through it. But I try to keep it real anymore because I did not know he was doing heroin, and it is very hard when somebody hides it from you. And it took me a long time to figure out that he was on heroin. I thought it was crack.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, my son's a heroin addict, so if any of you want to tweet to me that he deserves to die, I will find you. I have a very specific set of tools.
And she knows how to use them.
And I know how to use them. Mostly it involves my boobs.
Yeah.
But that's just my little sad story.
No, but it's not it's not even about it being a sad sob story. It's a real life story. And I think that when it comes down to, especially our podcast or the people that we have talked to, or especially out in the Podern family, because so many of you are so wonderful.
It's been really
also,
hard
you,
for me.
Alternative Fact Chicago, I've not forgot about you. And I
love
cannot
that.
wait. I cannot wait for fantasy football tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and also, I'm pretty proud. I mean, look, first of all, I had everything picked out, but I didn't rank the teams. And then I was supposed to be at home to be at the computer, but I was not. So I was literally driving on the highway trying to make my draft picks, and but so I didn't get some of the picks that I wanted because they weren't in the right order. But we've got some picks. We're gonna see what happens, and thank you for inviting us to the it's us
really
versus
nice.
Sensible People, which I'm not gonna deny. I haven't listened to your podcast yet, but it's actually on my list of my Sunday podcast listens.
Well, also put it on mine. I wish I could listen to podcasts while I work, but I don't work in a intelligent enough environment where anybody else would want to listen to that. Like, one day I was opening and I was listening to the Dem All Over podcast that we were on the day after they published it. While I was opening, I wanted to listen to it, and I had a customer that's allowed to come in early, and he got there like 15 minutes after I did. And I left my phone. I was listening to it on my phone.
Yeah.
But, your phone's kind of loud. And he was like, "What the are you listening to?" And I was like, "Nothing."
Turn it off.
Yeah,
Yep.
like, I'll just finish that later. Did you want me to put it on Fox News?
Exactly.
He goes on, he uses the N-word and...
Oh, fun stuff like that. Yeah. See, and I'm lucky enough where I can pop headphones into my computer at work, and that's what I do for 8 hours. Some days I can't listen to podcasts at work only because I need to jam out to music because I need something else. Nothing against podcasts, but there's music days and there's podcast days. But Sundays are really my fun day. I usually wake up on Sunday mornings, especially because I never work Sundays. So I just make my little coffee and I talk to my little Google Home, and I'm like, okay, Google, play this podcast. And then while I'm getting around in the morning and drinking my coffee, it plays on that. Obviously, some of them I can't play on the Google Home because you guys have got some language. Not that my kids haven't heard it, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, or I'll go, nice long bath, and you put on you got your cup of coffee, you got your bathtub, you got your podcast going. But I generally enjoy, so I like when Sundays are usually like my new podcast day. Like, I try to find something I haven't listened to that's not on my regular schedule. Okay, so-and-so put out one, so-and-so put, you know what? I haven't heard them yet. Damn it. And also, to What Does It Matter?
Yes.
By the way, thank you for your stark raving review of us. You are...
That was such an amazing review.
Oh, and not only that, but his latest podcast, he just goes on another, telling his co-host, you've got to listen to them, and
he was like, I love your podcast, and I was like, thank you so much. And we always complain that we don't get feedback, but I got a message from Basket Case from when I did my interview with Sean, which I did more of an interview format with him, just because I was literally just coming up with questions to ask him.
Yeah.
And Basket Case is also a veteran. He's a vet. And I think I forwarded the message to you so you can see it. I was like, I actually got feedback on an episode. He was like, I just want to let your friend Sean know that I'm a vet too, and I have to travel much further. But it was feedback. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Somebody's commenting on what somebody said on our podcast.
Oh my God, it's so great. We like feedback, but positive or negative, honestly, we'll take it. And we would always like that.
I'm waiting for these two idiots will waste an hour of your time. You know what I mean? From bad audio quality to keep Kent laughing. I have read bad reviews on podcasts, and I'm just waiting for our first. These bitches are dumb.
Yeah. And that's fine if that's how you feel about us. Because
suck a dick,
but we don't care. This podcast is for us. We want to make money off of this one day. But
I would like it if somebody paid us to do this.
this would be so fantastic. But
We're getting more listens.
yeah, we are. And we're getting more downloads. We're getting more listens. I really got to get on that fucking website. I've been slowly updating the website. Now that I paid for the website again, we have it back in our name. And, yeah, buddy. So, I mean, you can always pitch down some money for, our website. And for us to get some more stickers, because now we're sending out our stickers. So,
We're doing low cost here. But
yeah.
You know what?
Donate like $3 here and there. That's why we started the Ko-Fi, because we realized that not everybody wants to give us $1 or $5 every month on Patreon. So, the Ko-Fi, you'll see us.
If you're just like, I got $3 extra, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of
reoccurring or anything.
No,
like
nothing
that.
reoccurring. You can make it reoccurring if you want.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. But if you're just like, hey, I've got $3 in my pocket, let's throw it to Miles and Crawford. Please do it, because first of all, the $3 will just go towards more coffee and my gas to get over to her house. Now that we've got a schedule.
This hasn't worked out too bad. I'm a little happy with how we
got this together.
Yeah. See,
now we just got to figure out how to get some color in, loop this in, and we'll be done.
We have to figure that out, and then also to split our tracks. But
yeah.
I think this is going to turn out really well.
So do I.
The audio is actually going to be pretty good.
I hope so. Let's find out in editing.
I think I did. I try to stay at one position because I tend to do this.
Yes, you do.
And then I do
Yep.
this.
Yep.
And then I'm back here.
But see, it's good to have eye contact with somebody.
I know. You've been looking at me. You've been eye banging me this whole time. Like,
It keeps us both focused. Well, I'll be the same way because I'll start. I got bajillion cats over here.
You do. But
Well, no, they started
have
to
a
leave.
different one now.
Yeah.
Don't
see,
look him in the eye.
He was our.
he looked up at you. I was like, look away.
Look away. But but this is exciting, and now I also know how long it takes to get to your homestead. I've only visited her at the bar locally. I've never actually been. This is my first time to your place.
This is my place. It's a dungeon.
I like it. I like a dungeon.
I like a little dungeon.
Yeah, I feel like I can make some of the winter drives up here, and then when spring hits, you can make the drives, and then hopefully by then I'll have my garage to myself.
That would be fun.
Or the attic, or I don't know. I'm going to make this work.
But you know what's exciting is we're a year and July, August,
2 months,
15 months into our podcast,
and we're still rolling.
And we're still learning, but we're finally picking up speed.
Yep.
We're setting down some future plans.
Yep.
And talking about equipment and all that crap. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think this season's going to be our best season. But then season 4 will probably be better than 3.
Exactly. So on that note, folks, I think we're going to call it a night.
Yeah, we are.
Thanks. We love all of you. Shout out to all of you.
Thanks for surviving August with me, everybody. I know
Crawford, you did great.
Miles. I tried to include her in the podcast. Like, that's so Miles. Or that's something that Miles would say,
It's true.
I tried to keep you in memory, like...
I was always excited when they came out. I was like, look at Crawford.
I wish I would have
all on
gotten
her
more
own.
out. I wanted one more to push out before we got back together, and I just didn't get to it. I wanted to do a monologue, but I never got around to it, because...
We always have our little tidbits.
Yeah,
we'll do them.
We can do them whenever. So, but here we are back together.
This feels so good.
Season 3, bitches.
Season 3.
Are you ready for this? Because I am.
Me too.
I can't wait to have half of you on, because half of you
Our listeners.
Our listeners that are podcasters. I wonder if just people that listen to podcasts are podcasters. Like, there's nobody out here that does not have a podcast
that listens to us. Yeah.
Like, the only people that listen to podcasts are podcasters.
Yeah. But there's more. Maybe.
There are. I think we got to do it a little late, though, man. We should have done this like 5 years ago.
We'd be banging money.
Yeah, now it's like such a saturated market. I feel like that's why we have a hard time without the money.
Yeah.
The advertising and all that crap. But anyways, not to continue on.
Give us your money.
Give us. I love how you say that. She's always like, "Give us your money. Your hard-earned dollars. Give it to me or get beat up."
No, we don't have merch yet. But if you guys want
merch,
if you want us to have merch,
I will.
Will you just email us, because we'll make it happen? But we don't want. I'm not gonna put in the money for we got merch.
Like 40 T-shirts, and one person bought one last year.
I'm just saying.
Like, they're a little moldy now.
Yeah, because I think you gotta put down money for them, which is fine, and I would do that. I would put down money for you to give me money, but I need to know that I'm putting down my money for you to give me money.
Right.
Because we already pay for all of our subscriptions, our website, the equipment, coffees.
We split the cost, so it's still a dent in our pocket, though.
Yeah.
It would just be nice
We're mothers, damn it.
You know what?
Give us your money.
It would be nice to make a profit, but I would really just like to break even so that it costs us nothing to podcast, and then maybe finally start making a profit, But just to break even with
I just want to take out people to dinner all the time.
Yeah, like, I'm taking you out of my podcast dollars.
Yep.
You ready? The podcast paid for this.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. It'll be so fantastic.
So, what are we going to talk about on our next podcast?
We're going to have an interview.
Somebody? So, yeah, we'll have to figure out what we're going to talk about.
Interview.
I know that, but we'll let them, we'll just ask questions and let them.
Yeah, let's just,
Really
I
easy.
like.
I did that with Sean, and I was like, this is actually quite nice.
Yeah, all you have to do, I mean, that's the great thing about interviews is that it's just, if you come on and you want to talk to us, either you tell us what you want to talk about, or we'll just bullshit.
Yeah.
And we'll just talk like, who the fuck are you?
This
Where are
is
you
a
from?
variety hour, yeah.
What is your podcast about? What are you about?
But you know what? That might be nice for those podcasters out there who their listeners, they want to know more. Because we don't talk, I mean, we do talk a lot about ourselves and our lives, but we never talk about who we are as a person.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? And so maybe it'll be nice for those podcasters to come on.
Or we can talk about dicks and vaginas all day.
Dicks and vaginas. And vaginas
Yeah.
and dicks.
And our movie preferences.
Yes.
Book preferences.
You
I
know
mean,
what?
literally,
it'll be nice because if we have a variety of podcasters, we can talk about what interests them. You know, like their podcast.
let them do the talking.
Yeah, and like tell us.
I love interviews because when we do them and we did them with Don Oliver, it was so great because we got to go on, talk, and do no editing.
Yeah.
And they have to like it because then they can come on to us and they have no editing.
I love how we did the first part. We actually recorded it, but the way they edited it is that we were at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, I love that,
It
though.
cracked me up, and they even were like, "We totally didn't record this first."
We'll make it all happen.
It was good.
It was so good.
I'm excited. So I'm looking forward to talking to y'all. Sorry to ramble on, and sorry for my weepy mess there for a minute.
Weep away, Crawford.
Hopefully, you could make out what I was saying there. Maybe not. But anyways,
We'll find out in editing.
Have a great week. We'll get this edited. Let's see. Today's Saturday.
Yeah, or you can send it to me because I'm not doing shit tomorrow.
All right, I'll send it to you. We usually do. We share a drive.
Yeah.
So I'll upload it, and we'll have that out to you in the beginning of this coming week.
Yeah.
Which is like the second week of September.
Yeah, already.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh.
An hour and 50.